Hi, welcome to Jesus RX. It's the best pharmacy I've ever worked at. My name is Eva Popek, and I was a pharmacist for over 23 years. I loved helping people with medication management. There seemed to be a medication for every need. But was there? What about a person's deepest need? Can that be found at the pharmacy? Welcome back to the Jesus RX Prescription for Life podcast. This is Eva, and I have a guest today. I'm pretty excited about this because she was also in the medical profession, and this is why I reached out to her. We had known each other through their volunteering together through an organization that helped the homeless in New Hampshire. We never went out on the streets together to help them, but during different events, our names came up, and I knew her through that. And I did not realize at the time that she was a cardiac nurse. But this is the post on Facebook that got me very interested in what she's doing, how she was feeling when her life took this turn. This is what it said. I felt like a hypocrite. As a cardiac nurse, I taught patients after heart attacks and stents that lifestyle changes were necessary. Yet my own metabolic health was failing. Nearly 50 pounds overweight, high cholesterol, and constant inflammation. Everything shifted when I saw a friend turn her life around physically and emotionally from doing our program. I cried as I said, "Sign me up. I can't do this anymore." Yes, I lost weight, but the real transformation went deeper. My cholesterol normalized, inflammation ceased, chronic neck and shoulder pain disappeared. I can teach and feel authentic now. Our program helped me overcome the hurdles I couldn't do alone. Thankful and blessed. And I, being a medical professional, my years as a pharmacist, I used to have a Coke and a Hershey bar with almonds. For lunch, I just sit there and, we're busy. We're going to get the next patient out. Or next prescription filled. Here she is telling people after all this what they needed to do. And here she's taking care of patients. And this is the sad part to me. When we are in the medical field, we're busy taking care of everyone else. But what about ourselves? And even, your family, you're so busy taking care of your family. And I look at this and I think, wow, I need just to talk to Kate to see her story and how she can help others, because it makes me quite sad. When you're 50, I'm a woman, of course, 62 almost. And when you're going through that menopause or just hormonal shifts after a baby, even, and what happens to your body. And you think sometimes you go on and you think, this is just how my body is. That's not true. And so I want Kate to introduce herself. She works for Optavia is the name of the company. I want her to introduce herself, let a little bit about her story, and then I will ask her questions about this program that she is just really excited to be a part of and helping people with their health because, as she said, not just her weight physically, but emotionally, it really helped her in areas. So again, Jesus RX about mind, body, spirit. So this is another way to help you get healthy if you really need it. And I will leave her information at the end. Kate, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Eva, thank you. Thank you so much for having me on. I'm just so grateful to be able to share and have this conversation with you today. And I do hope that people are blessed by our time together and are able to feel how God is encouraging them to get healthy in their bodies. So again, my name is Kate Goyette, and I'm a metabolic wellness coach as well as a registered nurse. I've been coaching 3.5 years now after being a client and getting healthy myself. I'm going to give you just a quick excerpt of my story. So basically, I was living in a body that I was unhappy with, and I didn't know what to do. I'd tried everything, all the diets. My biggest struggle ended up being that I'd lost hope that anything could change. I was resigned, as you were saying, to being over 50, fat, and frumpy. I just thought that's what the 50s were, right? You settle in, you're settled. But then a friend shared her transformation, and I discovered this program with a coach who kept me accountable and a community that supported me. And everything started to change because I felt in control.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So now, not have I only lost 40 pounds, I feel good in my own skin again. I have confidence and joy. And I just knew that other people needed to understand that they could feel this way too, and women in menopause, this isn't a life sentence. And, you know, so I'm incredibly passionate about getting people healthy because I've seen how transformative it is when people finally understand what's going on in their body. And then they start to see real change and they understand understand what's possible.
When you went through the program, so we're going to take you back to the beginning. When you started through the program for yourself, what was the biggest eye opener for you as you started the program and say hit about midpoint? What was the biggest eye opener?
I would say the biggest eye opener was that it was all about choice.
Okay.
Really, it was all about choice. The choices that I made every single day. So, and it's not like the one cheeseburger that you have. It's the cheeseburger that you have every Friday and Saturday with the French fries, right? It builds up over time. But
Mm.
as you're rebuilding your health, you make choices every day. And I still make choices every day. And those choices are either bringing me closer to my goal or keeping me where I want to be healthy, or they take me farther away from my goal and slipping back into illness and inflammation. And it's really changing from a diet mentality, which means I just want to lose a few pounds to get into my clothes again, or I have a cruise to go on and I know I'm going to gain 15 pounds, so I want to lose 15 pounds.
Mm.
Or I have a wedding and I want to look sexy in that dress. So that's really diet mentality because it means you're not going to make any permanent change. You're going to go back to your old way of eating, which is
Right.
why every time I went on a diet, I gained the weight back. So changing it more to a lifestyle, which is I make those choices every day. And even when I go out to eat, I'm making choices every time, you know. Sometimes, of course, I'm going to have the bread, and sometimes, of course, we're going to have dessert, but it's not the norm anymore. It's something that I save it because I like the way I feel and I enjoy having the energy to do what I want to do.
I think what a lot of women too, if they don't, we all come from different backgrounds, and some
Hmm.
of us were raised on home cooked meals, others were not. I
Hmm.
know some of my relatives, some were fast food junkies, and that's what they fed their kids a lot. And so, how do you help people say that don't cook at all? Say they do not want to cook at all. Does your program provide meals, or is that really not really what it's about? It's more teaching them. So explain that part of it.
It really starts with a structured program. Our program is all about structure and
Okay.
support. Okay.
Hmm.
I'm gonna kind of backtrack a little bit and just tell you more about how the program works.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Okay. So first of all, people come to me, you know, usually it's through a transformation or through a referral, or they see something online. They're like, I need that in my life. And we have a conversation. We talk about their health. We talk about their goals. We talk about things. Quite often I'm going to phrase it, it's metabolic syndrome, you know, metabolic
Hmm.
dysfunction,
Hmm.
you know, because they have fatigue, it's chronic. They have sugar cravings, caffeine cravings, brain fog, poor concentration. I mean, people may be starting to hear themselves in this mood swings, irritability, problems sleeping. They need a CPAP. And
Oh,
and
yeah.
as this progression of disease it continues, you have high blood pressure, high cholesterol, chronically elevated blood sugars, which is the big one, and noticeable belly fat.
Yes.
You know, here we come, women, right? The menopause belly, because that's what I thought it was too. And so we bring them through a conversation that's individualized. We bring them on a program and we take them out of all of their bad habits and put them on a very structured program. So they're eating 6 times a day.
Okay.
5 of those times are fuelings, and that's purchased from Optavia. And one is a lean and green meal, we call it, that they make for themselves. This is where we're teaching portion control, what healthy vegetables are and healthy vegetable portion sizes, lean proteins, what a healthy size of the lean protein is, healthy fats. You know, so people need to understand what is a healthy fat versus a poor source of fat and how much of it to have at a time. And through this process, what we help do is we help to stabilize their blood sugars. And by stabilizing your blood sugar, it helps to bring down insulin resistance. I can explain that more when we get to the science part. But what this does is the body then feels safe enough and it starts to burn fat for
Not okay.
energy.
Okay, you're right. Okay.
Okay. So then you're burning fat for energy, and that decreases things like visceral fat, the horrible fat that surrounds your
Mhm.
organs. And
Sorry.
that's what's causing disease, right?
Okay, so like I said, your biggest eye opener was that you knew this wasn't normal, that you didn't, that's not how you had to live. And
Yeah.
then what were the biggest challenges? Say, okay, because some people say, I'm going to start, and then they hit this wall. Like,
Hmm.
did you hit a wall with all the, coaching or the support you had? That was probably big and huge to get through that. But did you ever feel like you were hitting a wall because your choices just didn't line up, or your body and your mind were saying, no, I want that food, not that. Why am I doing this? Because isn't, now correct me, isn't there a point where when you take away all that junk, just saying junk food or whatever it is
Hmm.
that is not healthy, that your
Highly
body's
processed.
rebelling? It's saying, I don't feel good and I don't like this, and just give that to me. So, I mean, is that science? Is that what happens? And what do you do?
That happens in the first week. Your
Okay.
body kind of goes through a detox process. Absolutely. And, we're training you to drink a minimum of 64 ounces of water a day, just plain water. Flush
Okay.
all that out, hydrate your body, and there are mindset changes. Our program includes teaching your mind strategies. So along the way, you learn strategies. We go through this together on how to combat when life happens so that you know what to
Mm.
do. The first week, the first 3 days tend to be the most difficult. By the fourth day, people go into a mild fat burning state where those cravings disappear, energy levels rise, and you feel good and you're not as hungry. And
Mm.
that propels you and motivates you to keep going. So yes, you do have those symptoms that come up. And then the second week is pretty good. By the third week, people are starting to miss their old habits. They're missing their pizza, they're missing their beer or their glass of
Oh,
wine, and they're missing these things. But again, we have a habits of health educational system that they're working in. It's literally called their life book. They're working in this during the week so that they're retraining their mind so they can change their relationship with food.
right. And then about the third or fourth week, where was it when you woke up and thought, wow, I just feel really good? At what point did you say, maybe the 10th day? I don't know, especially all that water. I think everybody could benefit from drinking more water. I don't know many people that drink enough water. It's something, it sounds so simple, and it's like, why don't we just drink more water?
We're so used to all of the artificial stuff that's added to our drinks that people just aren't, as impressed with water, I think. Let me go back to your question.
So when did you feel right? At what point did you say,
Ah,
"Wow, I feel really good today"? Like how long did it take? Because I want people to know, when you start to change your mindset on many things, your whole
hmm.
attitude changes, and it just does something for your mind, your body, again, your spirit. You're like, "Oh wow!"
Yeah,
But wait, was there a time that you're like, "Wow, I do feel good," and not like I'm saying 6 months into it. I'm sure it was
yeah,
sooner. So
yeah.
about when was that? How did you know, like, was it more energy? Was it clearer skin? I mean, I know our viewers can't see you. Kate has the most beautiful skin. Anyway, I'm sure that has something to do with her food, because like we say, food is medicine. Your skin is beautiful. So
Yeah,
when did you, like I said, about how far into it did you get
yeah.
that, oh, I am like superwoman, feeling?
I started feeling better by the end of the first week. There was
Oh,
that
wow.
much changes. Yeah, it's significant and it builds. Like you feel a little bit better and then a little bit better. And then you're sleeping better. So then you feel a little bit
Yes.
better. And I would say easily a month in, I mean, even my countenance changed. I was just happier.
Yeah.
It's things like that. And that's when it makes a difference. You're slimming down, the inches are coming off, you're feeling great, you're sleeping better. People are starting to notice, did you do something different with your hair? All the little things before they realize, oh, I took off 15 pounds.
Oh yeah,
You
yeah.
know what I mean? So it's things like that. But yeah, and then and it just gets better. You start to get into a groove and things get, easier. Our program is super simple. It's simple, it's convenient, but it's not always easy because you're working with your mind.
Right, right.
And where your mindset changes, the body will follow. So we do a lot with your mindset, and, keep encouraging that.
So really the goal, like you said, yeah, you look great when you're 50 pounds overweight and you lose 40 of that or whatever it is. There's so many things with that. I mean, you can't see.
Yeah.
Like you already touched on all the medical things that are happening inside the body that we can't
Hmm.
really see. So really your program is to, have people eat healthier and then their lives will get healthier where they need less medications and they'll gain more energy and they just really start to thrive again in life without medications that may be causing certain side effects, and then another side effect, another side effect. And we do put a note at the end of the podcast that we're not telling anybody to stop medications, to always check with your doctor, but that
Right.
these things are proven to really help medical issues that are caused many times by some of the foods that are like I'm going to call it poisons that we're putting in our system. We do it.
Hmm.
Sugar is huge. I'm not saying I don't eat sugar at all. I have some sugar, but I hardly ever have candy per se, but I'll have a muffin or something like that. I'll have sugar every now and then. But it is sugar is bad. So um,
Oh, it is. Did you
so
know that sugar, like sugar lights up your brain as much as cocaine?
yes, and that's why it's hard. That's why I tell people that
So
are
addictive.
down on drug addicts that are nasty and mean to addicts because again, we're involved with certain things there. I just look at people and say, "Do you eat sugar?" Yeah. I said, "Go this whole week without sugar." They're like, "What?" I said, "No, do it then." Then when you say you don't have a problem and you keep going back to sugar, I'm not over here this advocate for an addict that they're doing their drugs, but I'm saying it's not easy. It's
That's
not
right.
easy for addicts to get off of alcohol, and that there's a lot of, depending on what alcohol, a lot of sugar in that.
Yep.
So I'm just saying, I tell people right away, stop the sugar. Stop. I mean, totally. No, look, read every ingredient. If there's sugar in it, I don't really, I don't really eat much sugar. Once I started reading the labels, wow, I'm having a lot more sugar than I think. And
Yeah.
then when you go get your A1C done, oh, okay, I'm pre-diabetic.
Yeah. Oh my
And
gosh.
and I'm like, okay, I see my numbers, and then I know what I need to do. And do I do it for how long? Like you said, do I do it till because I'm going to go back for another blood work and I want the number to go down and then what? I just go back to the way I was eating? No, because out of everything, what am I going to do to maintain my health, especially as I get older? And
Hmm.
food is huge. I can go spend
Yeah.
10 hours at the gym a week, and I do like the gym, but they've shown it's 80% is what you eat. And as women, we do need to I'm all about do weights, women do weights, osteoporosis, prevent that with weight training. But again, you've got to fuel your body with the calcium, the
Yeah.
vitamins you need through your food is number one. And then, add supplements if you need to. Give us a little bit of the science background to your program and then talk a little bit about, if you can. So, what about the vitamins? Like, what's it take with your program on vitamins?
Okay. Let me just kind of set the scene for us.
Okay.
Because you've touched on many of these points, and I'm just going to kind of go back to a few of them. A large percentage of the top causes of death in the United States are linked to metabolic dysfunction and lifestyle-related diseases. In fact, 9 out of 10 people in America have metabolic dysfunction. And
Mm,
what metabolic dysfunction simply means is that the body has lost its ability to regulate fuel properly. It means that blood sugar, insulin, and hormones get out of sync, and that leads to weight gain, fatigue, cravings, and increased risk of chronic diseases. I kind of want to link that together. Let me tell you about the science between blood sugar, insulin, and body fat, because this is where for a lot of people, it's going to put a piece of the puzzle together. A lot of the difficulties we have with a metabolic dysfunction is because you have such high insulin resistance. And you have to think of insulin like a storage switch. When blood
mm,
sugar is high, when you have all these just high carb foods, ultra processed, white bread, white rice, pastas, makes your blood sugar super high. Insulin flips the switch to storage mode. And that means the body stores the fuel instead of burning it. And when I say stores the fuel, it's fat, plain and simple. But when blood sugar stabilizes, as it does with our program, because you're eating small, regular meals and we bring down your blood sugars to something that's very slow rolling, the body can flip that switch back into a fat burning mode and it starts using the stored fat for energy. So there's a huge link there because just thinking about how our bodies are and because we're having these chronically high processed foods, we're chronically leaving our insulin levels high. So your body's just in fat storage. Doesn't matter how much less you eat, just like people on GLP-1s, they just eat less. They don't change what they're
Oh,
eating, you know?
oh yeah, yes. And
Yeah,
that GLP-1 that you touched on, yeah,
yeah,
I get so frustrated because I'm like, I do know somebody that had like a A1C way sky high, 13, 14. I mean, it was terrible.
yeah.
So I
Ooh.
understand that they put her on one of those. I
Mm-hmm.
totally understand in the meantime there. But the
Yep.
side effects, like the diarrhea, this, and I kept saying, I think you should go back to the doctor. I think you need to get off of those. It's really bad for you. But again, that A1C, that was terrible. What are you going to do? But I know there's other ones, and they did later change her, but she also understood that really in 90 days, that should be enough time for me to change whatever I need to change and get off of this.
Yeah.
And whether she has or not, I haven't touched base with her, just in being in contact with her. So I understand when you're that high and how much weight she had to lose. But then I was like, oh my gosh, are you losing any muscle you have? That was my concern too with those things. But it's like, you know what? And then I just know people that do it because they say, well, I'm not going to exercise. I don't want to exercise. I just want to lose the weight. Well, but where's your muscle?
You
Like,
do.
and who cares if you weigh 10 pounds more, but it's muscle, I personally don't look at the scale a whole lot. My clothes, how they fit. I
Mhm.
mean, I do get on the scale to because then, you want to know, but I'm not concentrating, oh my God, I gotta weigh X amount. I need to feel good, one.
Mhm.
I need to know that I'm eating okay. My clothes aren't super tight in 3 months, because what have I been doing? Or if I've been eating right and everything, then is there something medically, truly medically wrong? A lot of times, like I said, when we say food is medicine, you can correct so many things like you're talking about with just lifestyle changes. And I do want to bring out, it's funny you said the pasta, the bread, the white rice. My family,
Mhm.
even when my girls were younger, we would eat pasta for dinner, and they even agree that we're all like, within an hour after, we're like this coma. We're like, ugh. And when they said, yeah, that happens to us too, Mom. And I'm like, we're not doing that. We're just not having pasta that much. So
Yeah.
I would change it up and do, lasagna with eggplant, layer the eggplant instead or whatever. And they liked that. But until we stopped and said, Kai, after within an hour, this is how I feel. Same thing with peanuts to my husband. I just really can't do peanuts. I'm feeling, and
Wow.
so why would I do that? But it took me a long time to realize after I eat something, really pay attention to how it makes me feel. And I'm not saying
Mhm.
like again, oh, ice cream, I feel good for a little bit, then I crash, but I'm saying when I say feel good, I mean it makes me continue throughout my day, not crashing, not just or starving all the time or not hungry at all. Like, what's going on? I love it when I'm hungry and innocent. I love that my body is working, saying, I want eat to eat, and then it wants to eat good things, But that feeling of, not like I said, where you wait and wait and wait, but just that I need to eat. I want to eat. It's like, yeah, that's healthy to want to eat.
Yes,
So,
absolutely.
so what do
You're
you?
right. You're so right. And maybe, we'll touch on that because I think you asked about that earlier about our what we learned at home and traditions. And because most of us were never taught anything about proper nutrition. We just did what our parents did or their parents did. We ate what they ate. We prepared it just how they prepared it because that's what we were taught. We didn't know any better. I don't know about you, but I never got any nutrition in high school or even in nursing school. We would have had like one class one day. It wasn't like we got this great education on nutrition and how to fuel our bodies and how it helped and how it worked in our system. We could educate patients on that. So, and then family traditions and then cultural meals. You look at the Hispanic diets and their cultural meals.
It's total corn. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
half Mexican and we ate, them and Italian. So what? Pasta on one side, the corn on the other. It's like, how good is that for us? The refried beans, the lard. It's funny when I think back, like, wow. But again, my mom did cook us meals and food has changed. This is the terrible, scary thing of our food system as well, which you'll
Yes.
touch on is it's not the same. I can prepare the same type of meals my mom did, and nutritional value is probably at half, depending what it is. And it makes me sad because you try. I've talked about different apps I use, what is it, the Yuka app, whatever, hitting that
Yep.
on there and seeing like, oh my gosh, that's leaching the phosphorus, whatever, leaching things from my bones. And if I had how many of these items in that I've been eating in one day and it's been leaching. No wonder we're all osteopenia. Not all, but you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yep.
because over time, I just put 10 things in my body today that had that. And I did that for 10 years
Yeah.
because it's hidden and you don't know. And so I started putting things back on the shelf and I touched on, seed oils at one point too. Angers me to a point that how deceived we are when we go and it's, oh, the label organic or this, and you scan it and it's like, what? What else is in there?
Yes.
It just, okay, sugar, sugar. I mean, you look at it, go, oh, 32 grams. Oh, no, per serving, I'm putting that back. That's 32 grams. Soda, whoa, I don't drink sodas. And the other day, I told myself, I can't believe I'm doing this. Went to this pizza place. I had a Diet Coke. I'm like, that was weird. What was that about? Then I have to watch myself because, like you say, the mind, what am I gonna slip back into? And the point was, I liked it. And usually I take a drink of one of those, I'm like, ah, and I'm like, why am I liking this right now? Like, what is going on in my body, in my mind that had made me? And the pizza it was a good pizza, thin crust, whatever. We don't eat pizza that often. But
Hmm.
again, I have to stop, like you said, why did that taste so good that day? It's just odd for me that I had that diet soda. Yeah, so what is the take on, I'm kind of getting off track for just a moment, with the artificial sweeteners? Like, what is your take on it? Like stevia? I mean, I remember having a stevia plant and that was, I
Hmm.
would eat the little leaf sometimes if I want a little bit of sugar. My problem with all these artificial sweetened and not, I don't even want to say energy drinks, but like I have a ginger pineapple something that's good for you, vitamin C. But I read it the other day and I'm like, it's got cayenne pepper too, but they use stevia. So that one's not as bad, but I bet if they put even half the amount of stevia in it, and then I thought, well, no
Justified.
wonder we're all sugared out with the real sugar stuff that when they make these products with artificial, that's no sugar, it's not going to be, you're not going to gain the weight supposedly. And it's so sweet with the artificial sweetener. It's like I
Yeah.
can't. I'm glad when they have samples at Costco because I taste it and go, whoa, and I put it back. I'm like, no, thank you. That's way too sweet. Why do
Yeah.
they? Is that you think? I mean, you're by your personal opinion here. Do you think it's because we're such a sugar nation, if I say it that way, that's
Mhm.
why when the artificial stuff they have to put so much in so that people will buy it?
Well, our foods are so it's marketing, right? And our foods are so heavily processed. They're designed to be extremely palatable so that you
Mm,
want to eat more of them. It's addictive. Now, Splenda's, aspartame, of course, is the number one worst, especially for your brain, right? And
that's
then
pretty
there's
okay.
this is personal, but this is also
No,
has some backing to it, some
right, right.
education. Splenda is like 6,000 times more powerful than sugar, right? You're just replacing that. And then there's saccharin, which of course is
Uh,
in lab animals has caused cancer. So those are like the three most worst artificial ones. But don't think that they don't impact your blood sugar. Your body doesn't know the difference between artificial sugar and real sugar. You're still getting an insulin spike. It tastes like sugar. You're getting an insulin spike. And even though you're not giving it real sugar to work with.
oh, I did not know that.
Yeah, absolutely. Stevia too, but stevia is from a natural source. But some of them mix the, I think it's called erythritol.
Erythritol,
Yeah,
erythritol.
erythritol. Yeah, yeah, which
Yes,
is not a good component.
I know, I've looked at that and said, why isn't it just Splenda? I mean, why
Exactly.
are they adding, and I'm
Right.
like,
Yeah,
money,
donut.
why do I even have to ask?
Yeah,
Money,
right.
why else?
Exactly. Stevia in the raw is more natural, and things like monk fruit, that is
Oh, yes.
also more, those are more natural type sweeteners, not
Okay.
nearly as sweet, and they're better for you. And
What
that's what most,
about coconut sugar? What's the take on that? Here we're cutting
I
off a little
mean,
bit, but
sugar is sugar, right?
okay, you're
But
right.
if you're using less amounts of real sugar versus artificial sugars, and it depends on what else you're eating in your diet. The best sugar is really natural sugar, fruits.
Right,
Eat
right.
fruits,
You want sugar, right?
If you want sugar, have a piece of fruit and don't have it as juice because then you've lost all your fiber. You've lost all those other
Right,
nutrients that come
right,
with having a piece of fruit. So juice is not the answer. It's like just have an apple or an orange or so
right.
things like that. So that's really my take on the artificial sugars is just like they still produce a response in your body and your body doesn't know the difference. So again, it feels like sugar's high, right? Insulin shuts off, stores everything as fat. So you're making zero progress.
Okay. No, good to know. See,
Yeah.
right there, I think that's a big downfall on all the people that think they're being healthy and not having sugar because they're having the artificial stuff. I don't do
Yeah.
sugar, but I've had,
You
and I
want to put
used to tell
Splenda
my
in it.
husband when he would do a lot of diet drinks back in the
Hmm.
day, he doesn't now, but I would tell him, you might as well just have real sugar. It's better for you than that. I
Yeah.
used to drive me nuts. I said, that's a chemical. I mean, at least it's sugar. I mean, I just,
Yeah.
but again, he doesn't really have soda anymore either. So that's a big, and that's big. That's
It's
big.
huge.
Everybody's drinking. I think back, why? Wow, I used to drink. You'd go to eat. And when we
Yeah.
were kids, we only went out to eat not even once a week. So you got your soda, it was
Yeah.
like the
It was a
treat. Oh, we want
treat.
a treat. Yeah. And then, as you an adult, us, we took our, if we go 3 or 4 times a week, and now we don't do that because the food isn't good. I mean, unless it's a nice, real nice.
And it's expensive. It's so expensive to eat out.
Oh, it is for what kind of food? And if you're a good cook, my husband cooks pretty good. I can cook pretty good too, good meals. It doesn't pay. Yeah, you get better food cooked at home and oh, it's just good.
Yeah.
So,
Buy those fillets and cook them at home. That's what
oh,
we do. We're like, we could buy some really nice steaks and cook it at home.
oh, I know, especially now they're charging 35, $40 for a steak. I'm like, what? I mean,
Yeah.
but meat there for a while was astronomical. It was a couple months back because
Yeah.
of what the beef shortage and all that. But that was crazy. I mean, I was like, okay, I don't have to have meat 3 times a week now.
One
What?
of the things that I just wanted to comment on, Eva, is that the biggest challenge is that we live in a culture where the highly processed foods, it's the marketing. They're marketing it. You look at all the marketing in the fast food, and it's fast and it's convenient, and you can DoorDash, you can get anything you want in 30 minutes, right?
Yeah,
Anything
yeah.
you want. So you're going to go for those things that the greasy hamburger, you're going to go for the stuff, the fried food, because I don't know why fried food has to taste so good. I'm going to admit it. Yeah, I like it. But now it destroys my stomach because I'm just not used to it. So I'll have it once in a while and I'll pay for it. But I'll be like,
I don't pay for it. No,
yeah,
exactly.
maybe it wasn't really worth it. Sometimes it's like, more and more, you're like, oh, maybe that really wasn't worth it.
No, and I said one night, I was like, oh yeah, let's go. One of the fast food Chinese restaurants. I just went, no, no, you can see them cooking in there. It's fresh. They're making it right there. It's not just all thrown out. No, I'm not going to say I can't even remember what the name was. Oh, we went. I said, yeah, I'll have that crispy beef stuff and the
Oh,
sauce
yeah.
that was on it. And there was vegetables in it. And literally the next day, do you know how swollen I was? Well, you're like, yeah, I do. I looked at my husband and I said, it did taste, but it's not worth it. I pass by there and I never think I want to go have. It was horrible. My inflammation was so bad the next day. Oh,
And people do that regularly and they wonder why they have arthritis and they're all puffy and and they're walking around and everything hurts. They put their feet on the floor and it takes a couple of minutes, because just to take a step. That's
yeah,
inflammation.
yeah.
We can reverse that. Our program reverses that. Get rid of your inflammation. We get rid of so many of these things, the mood swings, get things coming down. Your blood pressure goes back to normal, your cholesterol goes back to normal. Your type, even type 2 diabetics off their medications.
Oh, and that's what I wanted to say. You had an announcement, and then I'll have you get into the science
Yeah.
of it. But
Yeah.
you had that announcement that you could use your health savings card, health savings account. That's major because we used ours at a gym for a while. Like you got a doctor, we got a doctor's thing and everything, but never have I heard that you can use it for some type of a coaching for health systems, for your health. And that you guys got approval for people to do that right there. Anybody looking they're working and they have a health savings account and they don't take advantage of this, because I'd rather put my dollars into that than spending it at the doctor's office. So it's preventative. But yeah, the inflammation, though, I definitely
Yeah.
know when it's food related. And I can't imagine eating like that every day, getting used to that inflammation, saying there's nothing I can do about it. And it starts with what I put in my mouth
Right.
and what the drinking, but what I put in my mouth. So,
Yeah.
yeah, it pains me to see people suffering when they don't have to. But
Yeah.
again, I know a lot of these households, it's hard because if you open their cupboard, it's so many things they don't want to get rid of. And if they have family, all the more, I think, if you're the mom or there's kids in the house and the dad, you're the example. And if
That's
you're
right.
buying all this high sugar stuff, but then the kid goes to school and then this one has that, and I get all that. But if you bring it in the house, that's part of it. So the hardest thing for me is if it's in the house, yeah, I'll probably eat it.
Yeah.
And if I didn't buy it and my husband starts buying that stuff, yeah, I'm gonna eat it. He says you don't have to eat it. And I think that's where your program is probably is like the best thing because you could walk right by it and go, I don't want it.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
Because you don't have
hard.
the cravings anymore. Because you don't have the cravings anymore and you don't want it. You're like, it doesn't sound good.
It doesn't say right.
Literally within 2 weeks, your taste buds change. You become much, much more sensitive to sugar. You like that sugar meter goes down where it needs this much sugar, I'm pointing
Uh-huh.
up into the air, goes way, way down. So you're a lot more sensitive to sugar. Even in 2 weeks, your taste buds change. Things taste different. They taste better. Foods that didn't appeal to you before, now as you get into the program and you get healthy, you want a salad. You crave
Oh yeah.
salad. You're like, you
Right.
go on
And
vacation where there's not a vegetable in sight and you have to hunt for it. By the end of vacation, you're like, oh my gosh, please just give me a nice, big, lovely salad. That's
yeah, no,
definitely,
I can relate to that because then you go somewhere and you're just like, oh, and it's funny when we traveled to New Hampshire in the RV, we packed some of our stuff and we had a fridge so we could keep the fresh stuff and the greens or whatever. But if we stopped at the little gas station and I'd go in and I'm looking, hunting, what can I have? Oh, there's a hard-boiled egg, but I'm like, oh, I don't know. Is it sitting there? And you know what I mean? But it was like, oh, I didn't want those chips. I didn't want, like I said, candy wasn't my thing, but chips, oh yeah. And I would be like, okay, well, what's the healthiest chip here? Oh, maybe I'll just do the popcorn, and it was just like, oh, but it was hard. Sometimes it's hard. Or there's a banana. Just get the banana. I have allergies to a lot or sensitive to a lot of the foods. So banana I could eat a little bit, but it was right. Oh, there's an apple. And then, but I hate to say it, but these gas station foods sometimes I even wonder about the fruit in there. I was like, how good is that fruit? And I was like,
wrapped in plastic.
yeah, well, or it's been sitting out. I don't know. But it is hard. It's hard sometimes. So when you travel,
Yeah,
yeah.
you learn to find the good sources. You learn to find stuff or you learn to pack some of that yourself. Absolutely.
So, what has your Optavia done as far as the science behind all this? Like, do you do training for you? For what you're doing? How much training do they give you? What do they tell you about the science behind what you've learned?
Well, let's start with the science, okay? We'll backtrack a little bit because I think I've mentioned it already, but most people think they have a weight problem, but what they really have is a metabolism
Yes.
problem. In our breakthrough science, this came out in September, reverses metabolic dysfunction with a targeted reset. And that's our one of our programs. It literally resynchronizes your metabolism because when we restore metabolic health, the body can finally burn fuel, what you feed it, efficiently again.
Mm,
And here's the scientific data. And there's no other wellness company that has this kind of data and can prove this. Nobody else has it on the market. And that's why we've been approved for HSA and FSA accounts, is
okay.
because we've proven that this works. And as you were saying, it's going to keep you out of the doctor's office and it keeps you out of the hospital, if we can prevent disease from forming or
Mhm.
reverse it. Because the insurance companies are paying way more for you to be in the hospital than they're going to be for this program to get you healthy.
Yes.
So back in September of 2025, there were results of a randomized controlled clinical trial. And that's what was published in the Journal of Obesity, Science, and Practice. It pains me to even say that there's a Journal of Obesity Science. I mean, really, a Journal of Obesity Science and Practice.
Can you be right? Is that sad?
No, it's
That
it's painful.
it is.
There's a whole journal about it. If there's a whole journal about it, why isn't there a whole journal about how to reverse it, how to wellness, prevention, and focusing on that. But these are the results anyway.
Okay.
So I got my soapbox. It was a 16-week trial. In the 16-week trial, participants lost 10 times more weight because they had a coach and community to support them. And not only did they lose 10 times more weight, they lost 17 times more fat than the
Ooh, that.
self-directed group.
Oh, wow.
They also preserved 98% of their lean muscle mass. That's unheard of in any other type of weight loss industry. So we're really about metabolic health and metabolically saving your muscle, protecting your muscle
Yes.
while you lose fat. The best statistic of all is that these participants lost on average of 14% of their visceral fat. 14% of the weight loss was visceral fat. That's
Wow.
the
Wow.
bad fat. If
Yeah.
people don't know
Yeah.
what visceral fat is, that's the fat that surrounds your organs.
Yeah.
And it causes disease, like the diabetes, high blood pressure, high cholesterol. This is all the disease forming fat. So there was a 14% reduction in their visceral fat.
Yeah. That fat's hard. I mean,
Yeah,
to get off.
yeah,
Some people say you can't. They
yeah.
say it's not possible. It's like, really? It
So
is, though. I mean,
it
with
is.
Optavia, okay.
Yeah. And this is how you know it's possible. We now have all of our clients get a metabolic smart scale because it doesn't measure one number. The number on the scale doesn't tell you anything.
Right.
It can tell you changes, but metabolic smart scales are going to give you 13 different data points. It's going to show you, and it works by impedances. It's going to show you your body fat percentage, your BMI, your skeletal muscle mass, your visceral fat number, your
Wow.
metabolic age. Like I said, there's like 13 different numbers.
Okay.
So this is what we track with our clients so they can see themselves getting healthy from the inside out.
Yes.
It's so exciting and it's motivating for them. Like, oh my gosh, my body fat percentage went down. My lean muscle mass went up, or stayed the same. So they can see that their muscle mass stays the same. Their skeletal muscle stays the same or goes up while
Right.
the body fat percentage goes down. So they know that the weight that they're losing is fat.
When they sign up, they get the scale, or you just tell them which one to buy.
Yeah, we have a scale that we recommend that they buy. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've started to see different ones out there.
Yeah, they're amazing. I mean, the highest quality one is to go and get an in-body scan
Well, yeah,
from,
but
if you go to the gym. Our program is pretty comprehensive because we're working not only on nutrition, we're working on mindset. There's mindset changes,
right,
but
right.
we involve you in community. And so being part of a community, you become like the people you spend the most time with.
Yes,
One,
exactly. Yeah, you want to hang out with fast food eaters, guess what you're going to eat? Do drive through here, drive through there. Other people, they come. I remember in the working environment, and people come with their nice little salad, and they're like, oh, or they'd see me with my leftover dinner from the night. What do you have? Oh, that looks good, and it was good food. We cooked it, and I used to purposely cook enough to take, when I worked out of the house, enough to take the next day because it was good for lunch.
yeah.
But now my husband and I, well, I tell him you didn't, that's all you made for us? And he's like, well, one day he looked at me and said, I would think it was stuffed bell peppers. I mean, he's like, I can't believe you ate that whole thing or something. I said, why was that a lot? I was, well, it was good food. It was healthy food. You know what I mean? It was like really nourishing. I was like, oh, did I eat a lot tonight or something? I was like, oh, he goes, wow, you ate all that. I'm like, yeah, you just didn't make enough. But good food, you almost can't get enough of it, and it's not going to affect you the same way as eating crappy food, and my words, crappy food, nutrient dense foods, if
That's
I use
right.
the proper language, a nutrient dense food is what you can just eat and be okay.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. And it keeps you satiated. It keeps you more
yes.
satisfied longer because you do have the right amount of nutrients. And that's what our program does. Very macro friendly. 40% protein, 40% carbs, 20% fat.
So wow,
So,
you're
yeah,
good. You've got a good amount of carbs. I mean, and that's another
yeah,
thing. Some of these
yeah,
diets, quote unquote, the carbs are so low, it's unreasonable well, I'm going to say for people like me that when I did, tried to do that, just control my own, and I was at a gym, and when I just said I'm too tired after 2 weeks, 3 weeks, he's like, let me see your thing. He says, you need more carbs.
yeah,
And see, my husband's like, no, she don't. And I'm like, yeah, I'm a different body than you. I do need more carbs, not the bad carbs. I mean, because
yeah,
fruit's carbs, let's face
that's
it,
right.
and that's what people think. No, a fruit is a carb, not just those chips.
Right.
I mean,
Fruit,
there's,
veggies. Yeah.
yeah. And I'm like, so yeah, I did need to eat more of that. But I was like, when people limit it to that little amount, I mean, I'm thinking always, how healthy is that? And again, certain people, for certain things, I guess it works, but
It works, but it works short term and it's not sustainable. And that's most of the
no.
women I talk to, they've tried keto, they've tried this, they've tried that, and I said, and what worked well for you? I said, what didn't? He said, it just wasn't sustainable. Our program is sustainable because we're teaching you healthy habits. And at the end of your health goals, you have a whole transition program. And then
Yeah.
at the end of the transition program, I can have all this in my daily nutrition and I'm going to stay healthy. I'm going to stay the same. And
Yeah,
if I
and
choose to go out to dinner and I have more, either I exercise more to work it off,
uh-huh.
or the next couple of days you lighten up on what you're eating so that you're balancing out those calories. So,
Right, as far
yeah,
as the calories, but
yeah.
like I said, you go out to eat once at the fast food that was probably MSG and who knows what else. I don't know. When I
Right.
felt all that inflammation, that to me was just, it's a huge eye opener because it didn't used to bother me. I mean, I hadn't eaten there in so how long, and it just was a telltale sign. I am healthier when that affected me like that. I was like, oh, I'm kind of glad that I picked up on it. But the thing is, like you said, if I go to dinner, I could have went somewhere else and ordered a healthier type meal. You know what I mean? And then the
Hmm.
next day just work it off or whatever, instead of just being so inflamed that I was like, ugh. So, well, it's balance and then habits.
Yes.
Is my habit, what's my habit? My eating habits, are they good? Are they bad?
Yeah.
Are they fluctuating and why? And like I said, if I really take a seat back and think, like you said, where's my mind in all of this? Is it just because I want to be thin? Is it really because I don't know what's going on the inside of me over
Hmm.
90 days? And then you get the blood work. And then you're like, oh, it's because I want to take care of it as much as I can with the foods that I'm eating. And of
Right.
course, going to the gym. I haven't been going to the gym with my arm. They said just rest everything 2 weeks, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, yeah, yeah. And I do have, I just said that I do have a free month of jazzercise for us older women that know jazzercise. And I'm like, yeah, I told my husband, I need to take advantage of that this next month because they told me not to do anything with my arm, and
Yeah.
hand or whatever.
It'll be so
So,
fun.
yeah, and it'll be fun, jazzercise is fun. I'm like, yeah, but you need to be moving. And I go to the shelter and I walk sometimes 10 dogs a day. And so I may be doing, I don't know, 10 mile. I don't know. I haven't mapped my walk, how long I'm taking. Some dogs, if they're behaving, they get a longer walk. If they're not
Oh,
behaving, I'm like, okay, this isn't going to work for either of us right now because I'm going to get upset. You're going to know I'm upset. I got to get you back. I can only do so much training with you right now. So I'm a big walker these days with the dogs, and it's fun most days. It is fun. I shouldn't say most days, but I'm not a dog trainer. But I know I've had dogs, I've gone to training, this or that, and it just takes that time. It's frustrating, and I always have to connect my animals with whatever I'm doing, right? This is exactly what, like your program and what I'm doing with the dogs there. When I'm not consistent with those dogs, I can only go, if I go 4 or 5 days a week, I can't take all 55 dogs out. I have other volunteers that will take certain ones, but I joke, the problem ones, just like my problem foods, right?
Yeah.
I have to work on it. No, but I have to take the time with them and be consistent. And when
Yeah.
I'm not consistent, it just blows it all up. And that's the same thing with most things in life. With this program, you teach
Yes.
them consistency, you're
Yeah.
there with them, the duration of the program, and probably even after. Yeah, tell me about that follow-up actually, because like I said, I go back to these dogs 3 days a week, or, even 3 days is good. But if I could do them 5 days in a row, that it's phenomenal how much better they do. And then they leave and find a home, and I'm so happy, but sometimes I get kind of sad. So like you have clients, that's what I mean. You're there with the duration, and even, yeah, tell me the follow-up, and then it's a joy to help them and then kind of keep in touch, and you get those clients that you like always remember, the little stories, not that you're going to tell stories about them, but the stories of like your most challenging client, and then one that was just a delight to work with. No names, and maybe they'll recognize themselves. I don't know, but it's kind of fun. I mean, I could
Yeah.
mention my dog's names, but it's a little different than with people. But
Oh,
you
it's
get
definitely
what I'm
different with people.
saying. You get what
Yeah,
I'm saying. Okay.
I do. And yeah, and I would never mention any names because of course I didn't talk to anybody beforehand.
But
But
privacy, right?
but the process with coaching is when we first get started, we talk almost every day the first week. And then
Okay.
it's weekly check-in calls. It's 5 to 10 minutes. We check on their progress, their
Yeah.
challenges, we celebrate with them, and we just encourage them. And that's an accountability factor. They know the call's coming. They know they have to send their metabolic scale picture every week, and we talk about it. And then as they get closer to their health goal, they see those numbers come down, they're coming in the green. We talk about transition. So there's a little bit more conversation. We talk about transition, and then there's transition period. After transition, and they're fully transitioned, we still talk weekly for at least a month, if not longer. And they're feeling good. Their weight is stable, their numbers are stable. And then it goes to every couple of weeks, and then like once a month. And then,
Uh-huh.
then I'm texting here and there. How are you? I haven't checked in a while. I peek at their Facebook. Oh my gosh, this was great. You still
Yeah.
look amazing.
Yeah.
But I will reference every once in a while, how's your health journey going? How are you feeling about your health? Because once I'm your health coach, I'm always your health coach, you
Yeah,
know?
that's what I mean. The follow-up of, and unfortunately, like when some one of the dogs walkers consistently, and then they leave to a home, I never see them again. One lady, she keeps me updated. It's really cute. And then I'm like, oh, I mean, you work so hard with people, and I don't want to make it sound like so hard, but just like your dogs, you really come to care about. I mean, you do care about people. You wouldn't be doing what you're doing. I care about dogs. I care about people too, obviously, but we do it out of a caring heart. I mean, and God has been so gracious to us in our health, but there were things we have to do. I always say, yep, God always does his part, but we have a part to play too. We have to do our part, and blessings come, whether it's again health blessings, financial blessings. They're all blessings from God. And
Yeah.
unless we can just really have our senses united, our mind, body, and spirit, we're lacking somewhere. And food is integral in feeding the fuel to our mind, fuel
Mhm.
to our bodies, our thought processes and all that. I'm just so thankful that you care enough to really get down to the bottom line of people's food choices, not just their food choices, but what's going on in their head that's making
Yeah.
them make
Yeah.
these food choices. And then there's true results and sustaining results. And that's what you celebrate. And, so somebody just like my dog, I go back and what happened today? Well, you didn't take me for a walk in a week. Okay. check up on me this week. I mean, I know you'll check up on them, or the person's feeling guilty or bad because they didn't do that week. It was a bad week. So what? We're here. Let's move on. The dog, I'm not mad at him. I'm like, okay, come on. We got to just rework it. It's okay. And then start again. There's so much with my volunteering with these dogs that brings out so many other things to compare it to. And I'm just, like I said, so happy that there's resources. I have you as a resource. And when people hear this, they don't have to live under that. This is just my body type. I'm stuck. I'm tired. It's just who I am. I want to be better every day. I want to do
Mhm.
something to make me a better, just better balanced, a better person. And when I am, I can give back. And
That's
I
right.
think that's the bottom line to all of this too is you're out there helping people so that they can use their God-given gifts, no matter what it is. If I ate crap all the time, but I couldn't be out there walking those dogs like I do. I wouldn't
That's
have the energy. I wouldn't have the fuel. I wouldn't be able to do Jesus RX. I wouldn't be able to lead I'm doing Zoom things right now with my prescription for life books. I wouldn't be able to do that. I wouldn't have a clear mind. I wouldn't have a settled heart on what it is God's calling me to do. When I feel healthy because of the right food choices I'm making, and things go haywire. Like I said, my finger, I don't know what happened, but I don't let it get me down. We move forward, and that's what you're there to help people move forward. And I know I'm just excited. So I do have, go ahead and tell us how, I'm going to put it in the show notes, but how people can get a hold of you. That would be really cool. And I'm going to put that, like I said, in the show notes. So when they listen, they can go to that and just reach out to you.
Okay, absolutely. They can reach out on Facebook. I'm under Kathleen Goyette, and we'll put that link in there. I have a wellness survey that they can fill out if they're like, this is really something I'd like to investigate. That can get the ball rolling, and then I call you back and we set up a time to chat. They can connect with me on email.
And we'll see people that if they've been going a year, 2 years,
Yeah,
3 years,
right.
4 years. I mean, how long, how
Decades,
long, how long did you go? Huh? How
decades,
long? Oh,
decades,
yeah, because
decades.
again, it doesn't happen overnight.
Right.
We don't get, you weren't like that overnight, but again, there's that song too, slow fade. It just happens. And then boom, you go, whoa. Or
Yeah.
you look
Yeah.
at pictures. You look at pictures
Yes.
from how many years prior, or
Yeah.
just the picture, and you're like, that's me. You just, the blood work, I'm going to say, the maintenance at the doctors, the preventative is so important. But again, a lot of times in the blood work, they won't pick stuff up, or you're still feeling crappy, but all your blood work looks so good. Why? Because you're not feeling the body properly. You're
And
not.
the
And
metabolic
you can
scale will
still have,
show you that.
oh, yeah. Okay. So
Yeah. The
see, there you
metabolic
go.
scale will show you why you're feeling so crappy, how your numbers are. Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
oh yeah, so it's exciting when you have something to gauge. It's always helps instead of just saying, "Well, I don't know," or you're not going to go to the gym every month to get that done. Well, you could. It sounds like again, it's science-based.
Yeah.
HSA will be accepted.
It's
It's what?
reimbursable. Yeah.
Right, right. But still, they can get, do that. It doesn't
Use their funds.
take
Yeah. They're
much.
pre-tax dollars.
Yes, definitely. Structured program. And you get Kate because she's, so pleasant to work with. You got a positive reinforcements there for a healthier life. And she's done it. She's experienced that. And you'd be in great hands. So I thank you so much for being my guest. This has really been fun. And I'm excited that there's other healthcare professionals or ex-healthcare, you know what I mean, where we were in it, kind of got out of it, and find ways to stay healthy without a lot of doctor visits. And that's my number one for staying healthy. I don't want to spend my days in a doctor's office. I want to spend my time driving there. I'd
Right.
rather be able to go wherever I want when I want, not having to be tied down in doctor, 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 one
And,
and another.
and more pills
So,
and more pills and more pills and be tied to your
oh,
medications. Yeah. And the side
oh
effects.
yeah.
So we'll help you
Yeah,
get off your medications.
thank
Yeah.
you. And we'll be in touch and we might
Okay.
do a follow-up on just next time, maybe just some examples of some of the clients you've had and the things they've worked through. Not that you have to do names, but
Sure.
just have a list because that's always a fun thing to do too. Case
Yeah, that
studies,
would be
don't you
so
think
fun.
so? Yeah, so we can do some case studies later, maybe in a couple few months. Thank you, and we'll be in touch. Okay,
Thank
have a
you, Eva.
great day.
Oh, I appreciate you.
Okay.
God bless.
Thank you for joining in today. Sometimes allowing God to change our heart and minds in difficult situations is not always easy. It does allow us to think differently about a situation, and that in turn may help us act differently in that situation in a positive way. Remember, our mission statement here is to lead you first and foremost to the great physician for all of life's circumstances through his word. We do not deny that physical medication plays a part while we're on this earth. Anything you have heard from me or any of my guests is not intended to replace any medical advice you're receiving. Always check with your doctor before starting or stopping any medication or making any changes to your regimen. Just make sure, though, that you can add spiritual medication to any regimen. And don't be surprised if that spiritual medication heals you in ways you never imagined, because all things are possible with God. If you enjoyed this podcast, please share it with others and leave me a review. I would really appreciate it. I know the more of this medication that we can dispense into this world, the better off we'll all be. So until next time, stay healthy and stay in God's Word.